So kind of the way I do my training sessions, I like to keep them very, very interactive with you guys. So please let me know if you have questions. I don't care if you turn on your microphone. I don't care if you use the chat, but definitely let me know what questions you guys have. Because when I teach, I really like to make sure you guys get it. And I don't mind slowing down or going back and repeating things multiple times. It's definitely for you guys to learn this information. So kind of some precursor stuff about me type deal. I've been trading Forex for about 5 years now. I've been teaching it for about 2 years. And after I started learning this, I was working a night shift job and I began learning it mainly just by reading books and going to trade shows. I've been to New York Traders Expo 2-3 times. I've been to the Toronto Money Show. I watch the events online as well. So this week they actually have them in Las Vegas. So if you're ever, looking to go in these conferences, a lot of these are free. And you just learn a lot of information about not only Forex, but stocks and options and just trading and investing in general. So there's a lot of good information out there that you guys can go and get your hands on and start learning. And then the main thing is to find somebody that's going to teach you. It's kind of like what I'm doing for you guys over the next month. And those of you all that continue with your IML customer package, I'm here every Monday and Thursday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and we kind of do Q&A. So you're more than welcome to join those, because right after we do this tonight, I'm jumping on the Q&A with a few folks too, kind of just going over some things. But take advantage of all this education that's out there and learn it and grasp it. I feel my voice is going to go, but don't try to learn too much. Don't try to sit there and learn everything. Don't try to go and watch every YouTube video or every training module you can find. The thing about trading is you really want to find a strategy and hone in on that strategy and hone in on that particular skill set. So once you learn that strategy, you can begin to repeat the process. There's a lot of different ways that you can actually start trading the markets. And we'll go through a couple of those simple strategies. Who was it that's already gone through like everything? Was it Stacy that's gone through everything so far? So a couple people are already going to be ahead if you've gone through the iMarkets Live Basic 1, Basic 2, and Basic 3. So a lot of this beginning stuff should be repeat information and reinforced information. So again, Garrett said you just jumped on. So again, definitely slow me down if I'm going too fast for you guys, or tell me that I got this and speed me up. Either way works just fine. But by the end of it, I definitely want to make sure at the end of the month, make sure you guys have a good solid foundation to really start practice trading. Practice trading is essential to this. So if you guys have not already installed the harmonic scanner or logged into the harmonic scanner for iMarkets Live, we'll be using that to take a lot of the practice trading. We won't get to practice trading within this session of November when we do the Mondays and Thursdays. But definitely those that want to join me on the 8 o'clocks, we go through all of that kind of stuff because it's kind of an open Q&A. So we got everybody. I think we got everybody on here now. So like I said, I'm very interactive in my training. So I definitely want to make sure you guys, I know some of you guys may be driving or whatever. So I don't want you to type or chat or try to talk if you're driving. But I do send out the replays after we get done. I try to send them out the same night. Sometimes it takes longer for the videos to render, so I'll send them out the first thing the following morning. But anytime, reach out to me. If I'm not connected with you on Facebook, that's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me really quick, because I'm constantly in my mailbox answering questions or something for somebody on the team. I need to get you guys in the iMarkets Live groups. We also, now outside of me just teaching, I kind of teach for my team. but there's other guys that teach as well. And then those of you that have started to look at the iMarkets Live TV, you see that there's literally a training session going on all the time. So there is no reason not to get the information that you need. So I'm definitely here to help. And then as you guys have friends and family that are looking to get this type of information, you can definitely plug them into our groups. I actually started teaching this stuff after I left my night job and kind of just started teaching it to those people that were interested in learning it. I had purchased the iMarkets Live harmonic scanner way back when all they had was a harmonic scanner, and there was one person doing the live trading sessions. So it was almost a year and a half ago. And I was just using a harmonic scanner just for the tool itself, because that's how powerful it is. Once we get into technical analysis, you'll really see, because what the harmonic scanner allows you to do, essentially, it scans for market patterns. And that's all the market really is. It's just a whole bunch of patterns that just tend to repeat themselves over and over and over again. And so you can actually manually draw these things out. But when you have a tool that just scans the market for you and kind of just gives you the answers, it makes your life a whole lot easier. And you don't have to spend as much time in front of the computer trying to do chart analysis. And that's where a lot of people get stuck, is they're trying to figure out why to buy, and then they'll overlook something and then they'll go back and relook at it again. But the scanner itself pretty much just gives you what to plug in and when to take profits. Now, you don't want to take every single trade that it spits out, because not every trade is a good trade. So we're definitely looking for the best trades, but we will definitely go through all of that. So these sessions are going to be like 45 to an hour. So we're not going to get through like everything in this mini class per se, but it'll allow you to guys to really get a good head start and ask me questions as you're going through the iMarkets Live basic 1, basic 2, basic 3. As you guys are going through that during the course of the weeks, hopefully you're able to stay along, and hopefully I'm kind of behind you at a little bit, kind of reinforcing some concepts to you guys. But definitely every Monday, every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I do Q&A. So whatever the specific topic you guys have, we'll kind of just dive into it even more in depth than what iMarkets Live teaches, because they really teach one strategy, but there's multiple ways to kind of look at the market. So if you kind of see something a little bit different, definitely want to use that skill for you guys. All right. They might have any questions. I'm going to do a lot of screen sharing tonight and on Monday, because it's a lot of basic stuff. So unfortunately, it's a lot of screen share. But after that, I'm kind of more interactive with you guys. Anybody has any questions, let me know in the chat or speak up. And while you guys are doing that, I'm going to jump over here and pretty much bring up this slideshow. All right, so you guys should see that. And again, I keep my eye on the chat for the most part. I try to as I'm teaching, so definitely ask away if you have questions. All right, so the foreign exchange market, who is brand spanking new to Forex market, kind of got introduced to it, maybe caught me on a webinar, maybe was in an email distro or something like that. Who's brand new to it and has no idea what Forex really is? I'll spend some time kind of going through that. If that's the case, let me know in the chat. So everybody has a general idea. So if you have a general idea, say yes in the chat. All right. Gary has a general idea. All right, awesome. Because as I go through this, the more interactive you guys are, the more I can help you get to where you guys want to go. Otherwise, I'll talk to Gary and Stacy all night. All right, cool. Got a general idea. Awesome. All right. So I won't spend too much time on this part. Forex simply stands for foreign exchange. Okay. All we're doing is essentially exchanging the currencies of the world. We're not going to look to study every single currency in the world. We're just going to look at the major currencies when it comes to the foreign exchange market, because the major currencies is enough for us to actually trade and make plenty of money off of. As of last estimates, about $5.4 trillion is exchanged within the foreign exchange market. So Probably a couple weeks ago, it's the biggest market that you probably never had heard of before. But it's been around for a while now. We just haven't had access to trade it as retail traders, just the people, sitting at home behind our desk, actually having the ability to trade this particular market. If you haven't seen this little graphic before, the New York Stock Exchange is pretty much the only thing that people really can relate to. When you say something about trading or investing, they immediately think Wall Street. They immediately think New York Stock Exchange. New York Stock Exchange does not even compare to the volume that the foreign exchange market can do. 5.3 trillion. If you look at it on like a scale where it has the football fields, it's massive, the volume that is done in the foreign exchange. And the reason that is because this deals with all of the markets of the world. So if you're buying something from overseas, you're buying in US dollars, it's being made in Japan. They've got to translate your dollars into yens for manufacturing, and then the shipping costs is transformed from yen back into the United States dollar. So there's constantly an interaction of currencies being exchanged one for another throughout the world for different goods, different services. Okay. The biggest players in the foreign exchange market are the central banks and the governments. You always want to be aware of what they are talking about. We'll go into websites to kind of get an idea of what to look for. But the central banks and the governments, they're always doing monetary policies and regulations. In the United States, we have the Fed. So whenever Janet Yellen speaks, you want to get to know these people's names. She is the head of the Fed here in the United States. So anytime she speaks, she has power. So she can influence which way the market goes when it comes to the foreign exchange market. Anybody in leadership in the governments, our president of the United States, every time he gets in front of the microphone, you want to know what he's talking about. I like to tell people, I don't care what your political affiliation is, money is all green. And so you want to be aware of the people in power throughout the world, what they are saying, how they move the markets, what they're saying on their Twitter accounts, what they're saying on their social media accounts. You want to be aware of this because they influence the market. And a lot of times they can give you the direction that the market is going. Earlier today, they were President Trump was talking about Broadcom. As soon as he started talking about Broadcom, the stock started moving. So you want to be aware of what these influential people are talking about when it comes to the markets, and specifically the foreign exchange markets. Financial institutions and banks. So those of you all that don't know, your money that is probably laid up in a savings account or your 401ks, some 401ks, depending on how you're diversified. They use your money and actually make money off of it in the foreign exchange market as the values do go up and down. So you don't actually profit off of that. The banks are able to profit off of that because your money is sitting still. And if it's in a savings account, they don't expect for you to go and touch it anyway. So they're actually just using your money as a resource to trade in the markets and then, grow their equity for their financial institution. Hedge funds now are starting to pick up more in the foreign exchange market. Foreign exchange market is big and it's really unregulated. So you still don't have a massive amounts of hedge funds strictly doing the Forex market. If you guys go and start looking at the laws for the CFTC, and I'll kind of put this in the chat, CFTC, if you're not familiar with it, definitely go look it up. The laws around the foreign exchange market are so loose and lax. There's not a lot there because there is no central regulatory body. So when it comes to hedge funds, they don't want to get stuck in that space where somebody can come back after them. And because the foreign exchange market is different. I'll leave it there. We'll get into it a little bit later here. So Gary says, I've heard the term hedging as it relates to trading. So we'll talk about hedging. Hedging is kind of a strategy. It's basically buying and selling at the same time. And one side of the trade is going to win, one side of the trade is going to lose. So you're actually taking both sides of the trade. That's what hedging is. When it comes to Forex, we cannot hedge in the United States, but we can hedge using brokers outside of the United States. So that's something very important to know, but we will definitely talk about that. And retail traders is the last and the smallest group. We are the smallest of all the participants in the foreign exchange market. So we don't have enough power to really move the market one way or another. But it is kind of nice when you have 30,000 other people trading your same kind of style like we do in iMarkets Live. So that was the last count that I heard, that 30,000 people are using the scanner tools. So if you have 30,000 people kind of looking at the exact same patterns, we're all looking to kind of buy at the same time, we're all looking to kind of sell at the same time, that definitely helps the prices go in our direction and in our favor. So we are the smallest group, but there are definitely a lot of people that are starting to get into the foreign exchange market because it's becoming a hot thing now. It's becoming seen by a lot of people in the direct sales industry. You know, I came upon foreign exchange when people were kind of talking about binary options with Nadex. So I've been seeing the evolutions of the foreign exchange market and people actually starting to get involved in it. All right. There's quite a few different ways that you can trade the foreign exchange market. And we're basically going to focus strictly on the spot Forex market. This is basically buying currency at a price and selling it at another price. If you've traded futures in stocks, trading futures in Forex is kind of similar. There's options trading that you can do with Forex as well. We're not going to really trade options. I don't trade options in Forex. And then you can also trade binary options in Forex. So we have multiple different styles of trading that we can do for this industry. But we're really going to stick to the spot Forex market. Those of you all that want to learn the other ones after you kind of learn spot Forex, we'll definitely do those on the Monday and Thursdays Q&A sessions, and I'll teach you guys that stuff as well. I know iMarkets Live just came out with a binary options part in IML TV, so it's brand new. So they're starting to teach that. But I do like trading on the Nadex platform as well, which is US regulated. There are definitely some strategies that you can use. And like Gary said, hedging, there's a way you can kind of hedge on that platform that is perfectly legal because binaries are a kind of different style of trading overall. Why trade the Forex market? And this is why I really got into it. Like I said earlier, for those that jumped on a little bit later, I used to work a night job and I was studying how to trade. And what happened was I would study how to trade at night and I would try to trade the markets during the day. But after I got off work at 6 a.m. and trying to stay up until 9:30, 10 o'clock when the New York Stock Exchange opened, I was so tired that I would constantly either fall asleep or I would lose. I would try to rush trades and I couldn't just pay attention to it. And so it was a struggle trying to trade stock market just because my body was just physically tired. But when I learned about the foreign exchange market and knowing that it was 24 hours a day, I could actually learn and study at work and then actually look at the charts as they were going in real time. So I began to really focus on the particular London session in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock, 3 a.m. in the morning. I would begin learning how to trade that particular session. So the market is open 24 hours a day, opening up at Sunday evening at about 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and not closing until Friday evening, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So around the clock right now, the market is open and you can look for opportunities to trade. There are definitely better times than others during the course of the 24 hours to trade. So definitely depending on your schedule, you know, what you're able to do and how you're fitting trading into your lifestyle, definitely let me know and I can kind of help you tailor your schedule or tailor your strategy towards certain session times. I still to this day love trading at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning just because I started really seeing the pattern and then got so used to it. And I like to be in between 3 and 6 a.m. and I like to be done in the markets for the day, kind of do something else. That's why I'm kind of in my inbox during the day most of the times because I'm not really trading because I knocked that out early in the morning. Stacy said, what is the best time frame? So you want to trade when the market sessions overlap. And I'm actually going to get into that in about 2 slides from now. So I will show you that. Cool. Any other questions? You guys definitely type them in. Low cost of entry. The foreign exchange market is the lowest cost of entry market to get into. If you want to day trade stocks, gee, what was the number? I keep forgetting now. It's 20, 25,000, something like that. That's how much you need to actually begin day trading stocks. So you can trade stocks with less than that, but you can't day trade it. And there's something called the pattern day trade rule for stocks. Basically, you can't take more than 3 trades a day, and then you have to wait for your positions to close, and then they have to verify your funds and all this kind of stuff. So you don't really have the liberty to jump in a stock and jump out of a stock really quick when you know some big news is going to come out, like the Apple iPhone 10 that I just ordered a couple of days ago. You know, the stock went up, up, up. So if you want to day trade and get in and get out, you really don't have that liberty to do it when you're trading stocks. The foreign exchange market has a very, very, very low cost of entry. And some brokers actually let you start opening an account with like $10, literally. So I wouldn't recommend starting that low unless you're trying to, you know, teach your kids maybe or something like that. And they can actually start to see some compounding growth over time. But you really don't need a lot to get started trading this market and making nice returns. For example, I have one broker that I use, and I grow one broker, and then I have another broker where I actually take the money and start it all the way back down with less than $500 during the week, because they give me so much leverage, and they give me a lot of leverage up front for anything that's less than $500. So I'll go and take a crazy, ridiculous trade off of that $500 and risk the whole account because the leverage they give me is so high. And so I know the max that I can actually lose is 0, but the most I can gain is almost 3,000 times that. So once you learn some of these brokers and some of the strategies and some of the kind of things that iMarkets Live might not teach you per se, you can kind of learn how to really use Forex to your advantage. So I'm going to talk about leverage, and we'll do a lot of math on the leverage thing. And that's where I kind of ask you guys how much you're really trying to make, what's realistic that you're actually trying to get on a, you know, weekly, monthly return. And then market liquidity. It is so easy to get in and get out of a trade in the foreign exchange market. If anybody's traded stocks before, let me know. But with stocks, sometimes you get caught in a trade where you can't get out because there's no buyers when you're trying to sell, and there's no sellers when you're trying to buy. And so you can't quite get in on that price that you want to get in on. In the Forex market, it's almost immediate that when you hit buy, that your order is executed, and when you hit sell, your order is executed. Unless there is a crazy event going on, like maybe the Brexit event or what happened in the Swiss franc a couple of years ago, where they came out with a Fed change rate that nobody expected. Unless something dramatic happens where it's very difficult to get out of your trades, you can really get in and get out with no problem when it comes to the foreign exchange market. And that's a really nice benefit. Gary says, do you suggest starting with a mini account? It really depends on how much you plan to start funding your account with. Some people, and I've talked to people where it's range from, you know, $100 up to like $20,000. So it kind of really depends on what you want to start with. Anything less than $500, and it also depends on risk tolerance. We'll get into that as well. So I can't really give you a number yet. Let me kind of go through some more things, and that'll probably help you out. One thing you guys will definitely learn about me is I teach both sides of it. I don't just teach you the nice winning percentages and all that nice growth, exponential growth, because you can very easily lose all your money in the markets if you hit the wrong button and not pay attention. So I will definitely kind of get into a kind of conservative strategy for you and kind of a more aggressive strategy. All right. Stocks versus Forex. I trade both personally. I do prefer the Forex market over the stock market just because that was the first market I actually became successful at. Stocks, I tried to learn it, but I was like most people who try to go out to YouTube, trying to watch some videos here and there, try to watch some online stuff. You try to think you know what you're talking about or think you know and understand it, and it just wasn't working. So then I ended up walking away from trading. 2007, we all saw what happened to our 401ks. And then I After that, I really start to try to learn financial literacy, and then actually started learning how to trade the markets. So this is just a quick chart of the differences between stocks and Forex. But definitely, once you learn how to trade one, you can definitely switch over and start to trade both. I'm always looking for opportunities. I don't really particularly care what the symbol is, cryptocurrency symbol, or a commodity symbol, a stock symbol, a Forex symbol. I don't really care what the symbol is. I'm looking for chart patterns all the time. So I'm mostly on the Forex side of it. But if it happens on other asset classes, I will definitely look to trade those as well. All right. Anybody have any questions? And I'll kind of go into this. Who is that? It's when Stacy asked the best times to trade. All right. So when you want to trade the markets, you want to pay attention to the different times the market is really active. And we start off with the Sydney session from 4 p.m. to 1 a.m. in the morning. The Tokyo session, 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. The London session, 3 a.m. to 12 p.m. And the New York session, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Anytime that you actually have an overlap in the trading sessions, that's where the most money is coming into the market. Because in Australia, you have Australia, New Zealand, those countries are waking up, their stock exchange is rolling off, and then you have Japan coming into the markets. When the sessions overlap, that's when you'll see the majority of the money being traded. The overlap that's actually between the London session and the New York session is the largest of all the sessions. So that's where the most money is actually traded during that specific time frame. So that's the session you really want to try to hit if you're at all available. But definitely during the actual market times that are open, that's when you want to trade. During like right now, for example, is not an ideal type of time to trade, just because there's not enough money flowing in the market. There's not enough movement causing the prices to either go up or down. And we really can't make any money unless they go up or down, unless you're trying to trade a different type of strategy. But you definitely want to pay attention to the market times. Like I said, I love the London session. I just got so used to that session. And you don't have to trade every single hour of the session. A lot of the patterns in the London session tend to happen within the first 2 hours of it. So as you guys begin to learn the different pairs, you'll also begin to see the certain patterns that kind of happen routinely at certain times of day. Gary says, will there be any trade signals sent out once we get up and started? Yeah, so iMarkets Live sends out trade signals consistently. So any of you all that actually signed up for the Platinum Plus will get the mobile alerts that are sent out on a regular basis, and they're also sent out through email. If you just signed up for the Platinum package, you can upgrade for the $15 and get the signals as well. There's also on the scanner itself, you can log into it and all the alerts are there. Those aren't actually sent out though. You just have to log in to actually view those. But if you do want the actual alert sent to you, make sure you add the swipe trades to your iMarkets Live account, and they would send them out, and they send them out quite consistently. I would say on average, you might get 2 to 5 a day, just to kind of depending on the market conditions. Some days the market is just slow, so we there's just nothing to trade. But some days the market is really active. Like we had the yen today was very active. Had some nice moves today. LaShawna said 8 a.m. to noon. Yeah, 8 a.m. to noon is kind of that big money pile day, or big money time to trade, both in the stock market and in the foreign exchange market. So I kind of like to have both of them open when that comes out. A lot of news that happens in the U.S. happens early in the morning, 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning. So you're definitely looking to profit off of these news alerts as well. Cool. Am I going too fast for anybody? Slow me down if I'm going too fast. All right. I'm going to take a little bit of time on here if you guys have not already begun to go through the currency pairs. So unlike the stock market, you don't have to memorize like 5,000 currencies and stocks, and you don't have to go and research and kind of look at PE ratios and dividend statements and all that kind of stuff that I personally don't like reading. I've read some before, and it's just not my style of trading. So you don't have to go and look at a whole bunch of stocks. If you're looking at stocks, I tend to kind of look towards the message boards and stuff like that to kind of see where the patterns are developing at. But in the foreign exchange market, you really only need to know the 8 majors. Okay, so you'll see this chart is broken out into 4 columns, and the first column is the actual abbreviation of the currency. So you will always see the currencies designated by 3 letters. Okay, so for example, USD is the United States. Okay, so you will always see a 3-letter designation per currency. So you definitely need to start memorizing these. Any top pairs to trade? Yeah. So I'll go through the top pairs to trade, Stacy. I'll definitely give you those. We'll actually do those probably next week per se. But I'll give you a couple before we jump off of here because you're ahead of everybody. So the first column is a 3-letter actual symbol that you want to recognize. This is the symbol that you see scroll across CNBC all the time. So definitely want to know which country this is associated with when you do see it. Second column is the country that's associated with this currency. The third column is actually what the currency is called. So United States, we call our money the dollar, and the euro, they call it the euro. The United Kingdom, they call it the pound. And the fourth column is the nickname of the currency. Seldomly you'll hear the nickname, but not all the time. So it's not a big deal if you don't know all the nicknames of it. But definitely the first 3 columns, the actual currency, the country, and the currency name, you definitely want to know all 8 of these. Again, it's a lot less to memorize than different stocks. I always type in Apple stock ticker wrong, even though I look at it every single day. But you definitely want to memorize these 8. So if you want to take a screenshot, or if you're taking notes, take notes. But like I said, I'll send this whole recording out after we get done as well. Okay. Any questions on this? After you guys learn these 8, there's other definitely currencies that you kind of want to start paying attention to. More particular, those of us in the United States, we kind of want to pay attention to the Mexican peso with all the talks on the walls and all this, the border restriction controls. That's also a pair that I pay a lot of attention to, especially when it comes up in the news, because that currency moves just the mention of the word wall. So definitely pay attention to those. All right. Gary says there are minor currencies as well. Yep. So definitely minor currencies as well. So kind of remember back in the day when everybody was talking about you got to go buy those Iraqi dinars because they're going to go up in value, blah, blah, blah. So all these people went out and bought this currency that has no value still. So there's definitely these other currencies that are out there. But as you guys got to go through this Forex and Forex training, getting all this knowledge under your belt, definitely go back and look at the chart of the Iraqi dinar and see what it hasn't done. And then as you guys learn technical analysis, you can kind of come up with your own theories of why you think the markets will go in a certain direction or another. I do love the crypto space. So as you guys are hearing all this Bitcoin news and Ethereum and Litecoin and all these different coins, again, you don't even have to pay attention to the symbol per se of what it is. You can start to go look at charts here over the coming weeks and actually begin marking up charts and kind of giving your own prediction of analysis of where you think the market goes. Everybody on CNBC, everybody on Bloomberg, everybody is just giving their opinion of the market. And that's what we do as traders as well. There's always somebody buying, there's always somebody selling for some reason or another. So as you guys develop your own strategies for things outside of the foreign exchange market, you can, have reasons to get in trades and not just have to rely on somebody telling you what to do. And that's the beauty of actually trading the markets. Let's scroll down a little bit here. All right. So when you're looking at currencies, you're always going to see them quoted in something called pairs. Okay. You're going to have a designation, a 3-letter designation, followed by a slash, followed by another 3-letter designation. The currency that you always see on the left-hand side is what's known as the base currency. Okay. So base currency, left-hand side, and it's always equal to 1. So €1 in that top example, €1 is equal to X amount of US dollars. In the second example, $1 is equal to a certain amount of Japanese yen. So the base currency is always going to be on the left, and it's always going to be 1. Now you want to remember the order that these are actually going to be listed in, because these are the way you're going to see it on the actual stock or the ticker symbols that scroll across your screen. You're never going to see US dollar / euro. You're never going to see JPY / US dollar. So you want to memorize the order that these are actually in as well when it comes to trading, because that's going to be very, very important. If you slip up and say I'm trading the dollar euro, your numbers are going to be inversed, and somebody can take advantage of you. So you want to memorize the order of these. And we'll do so many examples that you'll start to pick it up. And as you're looking at your practice trading accounts, once you get those set up, they're already going to be listed there. But it's one of those things when you're talking to somebody else, talking to another trader, and you just want to be speaking the same language, that's the correct language. Okay. All right. So again, euro / dollar, €1 in this example is equal to 1.11250 US dollars, and USD JPY is equal to 102.44 yen. All right. Everybody keeping up with me? Feel good, feel rolling, even though my throat is gonna go. I know I got another hour and a half to talk, and I know it's not gonna last. All right. So one of my pet peeves, and it's this next slide here. One of my pet peeves is when you go out to different websites of different companies that teach Forex, or people post their profits and all this fun stuff they do, and they tell you the wrong pips that were gained in their trade. I can't tell you how many times I've seen these 500 pip, 800 pips I made, 1,000 pips I made this week. No, you didn't. The pip is actually the 4th decimal place when you're looking at a currency pair. Okay. What people are doing is they're adding that 5th decimal place, which is known as the pipette, and I had that slide. But I just feel like, because I know you guys, are signed up through iMarkets Live, and I don't know if somebody that was a trader actually signed you up, or maybe somebody that was a marketer that signed you up. I don't know. If you came through me, I know I'm going to teach you the fundamental rights. But don't get caught up in these. How did this person get an 800 pip move or 500 pip move? They're calculating the 5th decimal place, which is not the pip. It's the pipette. It's a micro fractional of the actual pip itself. So the 4th decimal place, the 4th place after the decimal is the pip. Okay. So in this example, 1.0445, the 5 is actually the pip. Okay. That's what's known as the pip, the smallest increment in the Forex market. Next slide here, the 5th decimal place is known as the pipette. Okay, so 127,302, the 2 is actually the 5th decimal place. Now, when you're looking on your charting platforms, some of your charting platforms might not even show the 5th decimal place, and if they do, it's going to be really, really, really small. So the main thing you want to pay attention to is the 4 places after the decimal. Okay. The only exception to the 4 place after the decimal is the Japanese yen. Anything associated with the Japanese yen only goes to 2 decimal places. So the 2nd decimal place is known as the pip, and then the 3rd decimal place would actually be known as the pipette. Okay. So anything like the USD JPY or the Great Britain pound versus the JPY, the yen, or the AUD versus the JPY, the Australian dollar versus the Japanese yen. Anything associated with the Japanese yen only goes to 2 decimal places. Okay. Everything else is 4, with the 5th being the pipette. All right. I don't want to go into position sizes because I did this last course, and that position sizes kind of took me over my time. So I won't go into position sizes tonight. But I do want to ask you guys if you guys have any questions on this. I know some of you guys have already started going through the iMarkets Live course, which is awesome. So this should have been a nice good little recap of some of the things you've kind of gone through. Has anybody have gone through anything where they had questions on anything that I've kind of covered? Go ahead and let me know. We got about 10 minutes or so, and we can kind of do a little Q&A, and then we go into position sizes and stuff on Monday. Any questions? Any questions? All right, Gary's going through his stuff tonight. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So as you go through, I really want you to guys just to focus more so on the terminology. Don't try to speed through it, especially if you actually want to learn the skill of trading. You plan on staying around for a couple months because the services of iMarkets Live are month to month. So don't speed through it. Definitely take your time as you guys are going through it, and that's why I'm here. So as you guys are going through it, definitely ask me. But I'm kind of laying that nice solid foundation because I've taught this so far in depth sometimes. But it's nice that iMarkets Live has a lot of the basic stuff and I can kind of review it. I'm not spend too much time on some of the things that go more in depth. I do want to kind of get to know everybody on a more personal basis as well. So if you have questions, definitely reach out to me on Facebook or what you're trying to do, what you're looking to accomplish. And so I can kind of direct you in that way. The reason I say that is because I have my best friend that I've taught how to trade. We actually have two different trading styles. We both use the same tools and strategies for the most part, but I look at the market one way. He looks at the market a totally different way, but we're both profitable traders. So you're not going to always see the market the same way somebody else sees it. So don't feel like as you're going through stuff or if you're looking at trading and you have a difference of opinion than somebody else, it's definitely a reason to hone in on what exactly you're seeing and start to look at it and back test it and see that it's actually a profitable strategy that you might have. So as you guys go through this stuff, definitely reach out to me because I want to make sure you guys understand it and then have that person that you can reach out to ask questions. Start going through some of the other trainings that are back there as well through the IML TV. I know a lot of those traders, but I know sometimes it's kind of, you get lost in the sauce when you want to ask a question and can't get the answers you kind of need. So does anybody have any questions before we kind of wrap it up? I don't have any homework for you guys this week, but I will have homework going into next week because I definitely want to hold off on the position size thing until next week because we are going to do a little bit of math. So if you don't have to know calculus or anything like that, but as long as you can add, subtract, multiply, and divide, we'll be pretty good. Gary says, how much energy should we put into technical analysis? I am a heavy technical analysis person. I would say I'm about 90% technical analysis and 10% fundamental analysis. And I'm going to talk about that next week. So anybody that is not familiar with those terms, technical analysis basically means we study the charts. All I really pay attention to is the chart patterns, specific round numbers on charts, and basically being what's called a chart technician. So I'm about 90% technical analysis and then 10% fundamental analysis, where I do pay attention to what's going on in the world, terrorist threats, voting, elections, anything like that. And then definitely you want to pay attention to the news that's presented on the Forex news calendars. So very heavy technical analysis. So it depends on if you're an analytical person or a technical person. Last class I taught, I had one person that is more analytical, that likes to look at the numbers and the actual report data of the countries and stuff like that. But most people tend to lean toward the technical side of it, just because the technicals, you don't have to infer much as you do with the analytical side of it, because the chart is the chart, the numbers are the numbers, and they kind of tell you which direction you want to go in based on your strategy. Stacy says she's more technical. Cool. Yeah, the charts can be, if the charts are confusing for you, I definitely have a book that I will recommend to you. Remind me going into next week, or I'll make a note of it myself. And it's a book on economics. See, I can't even say it because that's not even my style. It's a book on economics about the Forex market. So it really goes into a deep dive on what the actual job report numbers mean, how it's calculated, all the Fed interest rate increases, what it actually means for the economies and stuff like that. So it'll allow you to do more long-term trading. You'll be better at long-term trading because you'll actually know the effects of these different changes in the country's economy that actually happen over a longer period of time. So I'll definitely get you the PDF of that. I have a ton of PDFs. So I will definitely give you guys those, just give it to you as you want to go through them. They're kind of lengthy though, so take your time on those. So the candlestick charts don't work with Forex. Oh, the candlestick charts work perfect for Forex. They work perfect for Forex. Candlestick charts, Fibonacci charts, open, high, low, close charts. There's a bunch of charts. I love the candlestick charts in particular with Forex. I'm not going to teach you those. I got some videos that are outside of Our Markets Live that are on YouTube that I'm going to send you. They're about an hour long and they kind of go through the basics of it. And then I also have what's called the Encyclopedia of Chart Patterns, and it's nothing but a big 1,000-page book of chart patterns. Pick 2 or 3 of them and just like study the heck out of them. Shauna says, how much studying does it take before someone gets comfortable enough to go live? My kind of recommendation is 3 months. Practicing and studying before opening a live account. 99.9% of people don't listen to that rule. I didn't listen to that rule when I started trading either, but I say about 3 months and to go from practice to live. I will try to get my buddy Jay to come on here and kind of give his testimony of why I said that. Him being my best friend, I had more control over him to not let him go live as fast as he wanted to. So he was actually able to take a $100 account and turn it into a little over $1,100 in less than 2 weeks. But he was able to do it in 2 weeks, but he's actually demoed and practiced for 3 months before I let him open a real account to actually do it. So it's kind of up to you, but my rule of thumb for anybody I teach is to wait 3 months. There's a reason that not everybody is on Wall Street in a 4-week time period. So definitely take your time and learn this as a skill, and don't get caught up in all the IML hype of making money, making money, making money, making money. You do really want to learn this as a skill, because if anything happens to any software or any resource that you have, you want to be able to know how to do this for yourself, regardless of, you know, anything else. If everybody's computer just went black, and you couldn't connect to anything else, you want to know how to do this as a skill for yourself. So don't get caught up in all of that, because if the scanner goes away, I can do the scanner manually still. So if you're totally relying on that scanner, you're going to be in a world of hurt when it doesn't work like it hasn't worked for me the second half of today. So definitely take your time and kind of learn the different aspects of this trading game. Cool. Any other questions? Like I said, I will try to get this recording out tonight, depending on how long it renders. Otherwise, it'll be first thing in the morning. We do use this same Zoom Hangout meeting ID every single session. So definitely put it on your calendars every Monday, every Thursday, except for Thanksgiving. We will be on here. And those of you all that want to just stay and jump on the other session, I sent that in the email as well. That's at 8 p.m. It's more of a Q&A session. I don't have too many people on those right now, just because a lot of the iMarkets Live sessions going on at the same time. And then I've got people on the West Coast that's still early for them. So they either jump on later or not at all. But that Q&A session, I'm there kind of marking up charts and talking as well. Any other questions you guys have before we jump off here? All right, I will see all of y'all hopefully on Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And again, reach out to me during the weekend if you have any questions as you're kind of going through stuff. And I will definitely get back to you as fast as I possibly can. So you guys have an awesome evening, and I will see you later.